Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to do an interesting comparison of two up-and-coming innovative growth stocks and answer which one of these two is the better stock to buy. The two stocks I'll be doing in this video is Plug Power stock and comparing it with Nikola stock and answering which one is the better buy. To do that, I'm going to look at 5 metrics starting with revenue, so let's get right into it. Of course, Plug Power further along in its revenue generation. In its most recent quarter, it generated 210 million in revenue compared to just 11 million in revenue for Nikola. Of course, Nikola is just now ramping up production and now it's switching over to a different type of truck. It was going from battery electric vehicles to now going to hydrogen fueled vehicles. So that's going to be an interesting transition. It remains to be seen how effective Nikola will be, and it really needs to prove to investors that it's actually making deliveries, generating sales, and ramping up production. Investors have been waiting a long time for Nikola to show some evidence of growth here. The next thing I wanted to look at between these two innovative growth stocks is their operating income, or I should say their operating losses, because they're losing a lot of money on the bottom line. Plug Power lost 199 million in the most recent quarter, while Nikola lost 151 million in its most recent quarter in operating income. But if you compare it to revenue, Nikola's losses look worse because it only generated 11 million in revenue and lost 151 million in operating income, while Plug Power lost 200 million in operating income, but at least it generated 210 million in revenue. The next thing I wanted to look at when a company is losing so much money is how much cash they have. And looking at this metric, Plug Power has 475 million in cash on hand. Nikola has 121 million. And if you look at Nikola's last quarter, they lost 151 million. So they don't even have enough cash to survive one quarter if they continue at this pace. Now, they're not likely to continue at that pace. In fact, Nikola made recent announcements about how they're cutting costs and divested a division in Europe to slow down the cash burn even more. So the company is taking steps to slow that down. And if you want to know more about that, I have a video on that on my channel, so you could take a closer look in that. But Nikola is certainly closer to running out of money than Plug Power is. Plug Power, compared to its quarterly losses, has more time, more runway than Nikola does. Nikola is getting dangerously close to running out of cash. And of course, when companies are running dangerously close to running out of cash, the other thing I look at is average diluted shares outstanding, because when companies get close to running out of cash, what they do is sell more stock to raise capital. And what that does is dilute shareholders, because now there are more shares outstanding. So you own a smaller piece of the company if you were an existing shareholder. And both of these companies are going through significant dilution. You look at Plug Power, it went from around 200 million shares outstanding in 2020 all the way up to 600 million shares outstanding in its most recent update. So it tripled the number of shares outstanding. And as well as Nikola, which went from around 300 million shares outstanding all the way up to 549 million shares outstanding. So not as severe as Plug Power, but the growth in Nikola you could see recently, it's jumping higher in recent quarters. And so even though if you go from 2020 onward, Plug Power has diluted shareholders more, but if you go from 2022 onward, then Nikola has diluted shareholders more. Either way, both of these companies are losing a lot of money on the bottom line, so shareholder dilution is a major concern for both of them. Finally, let's look at valuation, and I chose to use the forward price to sales ratio, and judging by this metric, Plug Power is trading at a forward price to sales of 2.8, and Nikola stock is trading at a forward price to sales of 1.6. Nikola is down significantly after trading at a forward price to sales of over 30 in early 2022. It's now down to a more reasonable valuation. But still, if I was to pick one of these two growth stocks to buy today, I would pick Plug Power stock over Nikola stock. Survivorship is a main concern of mine with companies like these two that are losing so much money. And since Plug Power has more cash and it has more progress in terms of generating revenue and more established business, I feel it can more effectively raise capital if it needs to and dilute shareholders a lot less than Nikola will need to when it eventually needs to raise capital. For that reason, I would choose Plug Power stock over Nikola stock in this comparison. But that's all I've got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.